Lung 5, on the other hand, is a commonly used point. Lung 5 is at the crease of the elbow on the radial side of the biceps brachii tendon. The main action of lung 5 is to clear heat and descend lung qi. If heat gets into the lung, it can interfere with the lung's descending function and cause the qi to rebel back upwards, giving us things like cough, wheezing, asthma, and shortness of breath. Fever, dry mouth, and throat pain are all signs of heat. And like we said earlier, heat can cause bleeding as well. So we see things like coughing up blood and nosebleed. And when heat gets into the lung, that heat can cook down the fluids of the lung and thicken them into phlegm. So lung 5 has an action of resolving phlegm as well, treating cough with phlegm. Now when it comes to clearing this heat, Maciocia emphasizes that lung 5 is mostly used for excess conditions, whereas Deadman says that lung 5 can be used for both excess heat and deficiency heat. It just depends on which points you combine it with. So if you want to treat deficiency heat, you might need to combine lung 5 with other points that nourish yin and moisten the lung. So that's something to keep in mind. Lung 5 is a He-Si point. Remember, He-Si points treat rebellious qi and diarrhea, and we see both of those here with cough, vomiting, and diarrhea. Lung 5 also regulates the water passages. You can maybe think that lung 5 is the He-Si water point, so it has an action of regulating the water passages. So again, if a pathogen obstructs the lung's descending function, then it can no longer descend fluids to the bladder and kidney, and we may end up with water retention. That's why we see things like edema, swelling of the limbs, and urinary retention. But if the lung is deficient, we may get frequent urination and enuresis. Lung 5 can be used in both situations. Besides that, lung 5 can also relax the sinews because it's right next to a sinew. Remember when we looked at the lung sinew channel, there was this binding site at the elbow right in the area of lung 5. So lung 5 can treat elbow pain and elbow stiffness. But because it's in the middle of the channel, lung 5 can actually relax the sinews all along the lung channel. So it's also good for shoulder pain, inability to raise the arm, and difficulty opening the hand. And the name of lung 5 is Chur-zi cubit marsh because it's located on the cubital crease. And a marsh is kind of like a swamp. They tend to be hot and damp. So that's how I remember this point. Lung 5 is located in the pit of your elbow where it tends to get hot and sweaty. So lung 5 is good for clearing heat. And a marsh or a swamp is a place where there's a lot of standing water. So lung 5 also regulates water passages. So those are the things I would remember about lung 5.